There are so many things that compete for our attention, to the point where it can be challenging to be still and let be. There's always one more task to complete, one more goal to accomplish, one more message to answer. And yet, we hunger for satisfying rest and refreshment. Some of us are so busy all the time that when we finally do have a much-needed break or a vacation, we find it hard to unwind, to be present and really enjoy it. Yet, choosing to be still and setting aside constant striving makes space to meet God. Let's explore this concept through a visualization inspired by Luke chapter 10 and Matthew chapter 11 in the Bible. You leave the clatter and clamor of the kitchen for a break. You are hungry to hear what Jesus is going to say this time. You do feel a little guilty. You didn't even tell Martha that you are finished. Your feet are tired, and you already helped more than you wanted to. Martha's burdened feelings and the pressure she is under are obvious when you take one look at her. She wants everything to be absolutely the best for Jesus, and you know she expects your help. You feel another twinge. You simply cannot work as hard as she does. It's never enough. You always run out of steam first. No amount of work on your part will take the pressure off. Only Martha can choose that for herself. You wipe your sleeve across your damp forehead. Martha refuses to be outdone, and you usually try to keep pace with her. But you do not have it in you today. You can almost hear her scolding that you have to feed Jesus because he came all this way to see you. You argue back in your head, Jesus would be satisfied with yesterday's bread. Besides, there is something you want so badly, it is burning in your heart. You want to be able to listen to Jesus and soak in his words. And your desire is great enough that you are willing to deal with Martha's objections later. The noise and bustle of the kitchen fade into the background as you cross the room toward Jesus. You can tell that he is just getting started. Some of the men peer at you and you question your decision for a moment. But one look at Jesus quiets your misgivings. He smiles and gestures to a place at his feet, and you gladly give in. Relief and peace join you. Yes, this is exactly what you wanted, and it feels good to give yourself this gift. You open your ears and your heart and let his teaching flow in like a refreshing drink. You could listen to him for hours. The sound of breaking pottery jerks your attention back to the kitchen. There is a pause, and a murmur ripples across the room. Then Jesus resumes his teaching, but your mind fails to follow. You are distracted and look back toward the kitchen. Martha appears and scowls at you. Her resentment is obvious. She is holding a plate in one hand and a towel in the other, and is wiping at the plate a little too vigorously. "What are you doing?" she mouths. You have no argument, so you shrug and turn back toward Jesus, trying to decide if this is going to be worth it. But then you hear what Jesus is saying, and you are fascinated. He's talking about the Pharisees, and he's not praising them. All of their rules, they are working too hard. And for what? Do you not know that works do not purchase eternal life? Those who follow me will find rest. They will have permission to stop working so hard. You realize Jesus is looking right at you as he speaks, and you blush. Does he know all about the tension between you and Martha? Stop working so hard. The words echo inside of your head, and you feel the irony, and the humor bubbles up inside of your chest. You try to hold it in, but a tiny giggle escapes. And the more you try to stifle your laughter, the harder your shoulders shake. Everyone looks at you, but you can't help it. Your guests must think you've lost your mind. But for the first time in a while, you feel so good. All the tension and Martha's frustration and expectations and your tiredness burst into tiny pieces as you crack up. Then you look up and see Martha staring daggers at you from the other side of the room. You clap your hand over your mouth, stifling the last chuckle. She obviously fails to see anything funny about this moment. Her ears are bright red, and you can tell that she is not going to stay in the kitchen any longer. She practically stomps across the room and halts in front of Jesus, tapping her foot in irritation. "Lord," Martha bursts out, "don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me." You are prepared to be sent back to the kitchen with your tail between your legs. How could she embarrass you like this? You look at your lap and realize you were doing a fine job of embarrassing yourself before she entered the scene. "Martha, Martha," Jesus answers. "You are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." The surprise is mirrored on both of your faces. Now Martha can take a turn being embarrassed. You look at her, and then back at Jesus. He would rather have you here, listening to him, than in the other room serving him. He prefers your company over your hard work. And this is exactly what you had hoped for. Jesus is giving you permission to be yourself and to say no to those things you perhaps should do. You can stay right here and do what you want to do. Rest at his feet and listen to his teaching. A smile spreads across your face, and you sigh with contentment. Friend, do you find yourself identifying with this narrative from the perspective of Martha or Mary? Perhaps you've been on both sides of the dynamic at times. Whether we experience pressure to get tasks done from those around us, or from our own internal drive, or both, it's easy to just give in and stay busy. But there is much to gain from stillness and rest. I encourage you to read the account of these sisters, found in Luke chapter 10, verses 38 through 42. As well as some additional words from Jesus that you can find in Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 through 30. As you read these, consider what invitation God might